Oh, good morning. Welcome to my vlog. My name is James Cook. I am desperate for coffee this morning. Really desperate. I only had about 3 hours sleep. It's the heat, you know? It's just, and houses in this country, they don't come with climate, you know, with air conditioning. So, yeah, anyway, coffee. It will fix me, it will sort me out. The other reason I'm really knackered today is because I misunderstood my mother and thought that I needed to wake up and go for a run really early this morning, which I didn't. I could have had a lie-in. So she's making it up to me by buying me a coffee. Have cake. Boom. So I've been doing a run every day now for, oh well, since mid-April. So we're coming up to 3 months, which has been fun. I mean, it has been. I've done sort of 5 kilometers a day, which, yeah, my legs were a bit confused to begin with, but now they seem to be getting into their groove, and hence why when I need to, I end up having to go for a run really early, because it's the only point in the day when it fits in. And yes, and a nice bun. And I've wanted to go for a run first thing in the morning for ages, and I've never been able to sort of build it into my day. And I think basically I work a lot better when I'm doing things daily, and I've got a sort of a routine. I suppose in that respect I'm a bit like a dog or a small child. Routine is very important to me, clearly. Habit, perhaps, is a better phrase. So where I'm going with this is I'd like to get back into, at least for a while, doing some YouTube videos on a daily basis, because I really enjoy it, but I sort of struggle to make it happen unless it's part of a sort of an everyday routine. We'll see. That's basically what I'm doing today. Is I'm just going to do a little bit of footage, have a little bit of a chit chat, and then hopefully get it edited nice and quickly. Is there a dog? Yes. Albie is not very sociable with other dogs. Are you, Albie? Oh, that's a nice wind. Yes. There was no wind yesterday, and we went on a great big 12-mile cycle, which isn't very much, but I did have V and Jasper with me, so it wasn't exactly the fastest cycle I've ever been on. But there was no wind, and it was so hot and muggy. It's still hot today, but oh, isn't that wind refreshing, Mum? Oh, it's glorious. V's having a smart meter installed later today, so we're going to be heading over to her flat, and that's where I'm planning on hopefully editing this video, but we'll see how that goes later, I suppose. Love being able to cool the car. Yeah, I definitely need to get more sleep.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to work out what to say. That's one of the problems with not making videos very often is...
Then you forget how to do it.
Exactly. So when I first bought my car, I remember thinking, yay, I'm finally free from petrol, because I'd been watching for the last sort of couple of years before I bought my Tesla in 2014. I'd watched the price of fuel go up like crazy. It wasn't good. But then I bought it, and I swear that's where the price stopped going up. It was at £1.30 a litre, and then it stayed at £1.30, £1.20. I think it came down a bit. And I felt a little bit sort of like, oh, you know, because anyway. But now, of course, price has gone up like crazy. And one of the great things about electricity and solar panels and renewable energy and electric cars is they can give you a bit of energy independence. You know, you're not actually beholden to what Russia is doing in, you know, far-flung parts of the world, or, you know, the latest OPEC cartel. You know, I always find that kind of amazing, that they're allowed to be a cartel. Everybody else, cartels are illegal, but when it comes to oil, oh no, it's fine. Cartels are fine. Yeah. The prices have gone up massively, and what am I saying? Basically, fundamentally, yay, I got an electric car. And I mean, I think even if you went and bought an EV now, I'm sure you would save money in the long run. Certainly my experience of EVs is that they are very much less likely to wear out in a, you know, over a shortish 100,000 miles. So you can keep the car for a lot longer and get a lot more use out of it, hopefully. I think maybe the sort of smaller electric vehicles, it wouldn't work quite that way, but with the big batteried ones, yeah. But electric vehicles do cost a bit more to buy in the first place than your average petrol or diesel, so there is that downside. The only thing that sort of does help with that now, of course, is because EVs have been sold in reasonable numbers for a few years now, the second-hand market is starting to exist. There are starting to be cheaper second-hand EVs one can buy. The big problem, of course, is that if you actually buy your electricity from quick chargers and public chargers, partly because the price of electricity has also gone up a fair amount recently, half the time you're paying the same or more as you would per mile for a petrol or diesel car, which is bonkers. So at the moment, really, having some off-street parking so you can charge your car is quite important, and ultimately will save you a lot of money, because I mean, I can't imagine, I think I'm spending something like 60-70 quid a month on electricity for the car, and if I was doing that number of miles and having to fill, say, an Audi A7's petrol tank, then I think I'll probably be getting through about 300 a month at least. So that's a substantial saving. And the good news is I see EVs everywhere now, so there must be quite a few people that are enjoying those fuel savings. Even your mum's got an EV, hasn't she? Do you remember what kind it is?
No.
It's the Hyundai Kona EV.
That's a mouthful.
Isn't it? I think it actually works. It's actually quite a good one. I think maybe my mum might like an EV like that, because my mum bought herself a Mercedes B-Class, I don't know, a year ago. And you might be thinking, why did she do that? Is she mad? The truth is, she only does like 2,000-3,000 miles a year. So for her, the savings for having an EV don't really counteract the extra price that you have to pay to have an EV. Yeah, so the internet's going off because they have to turn the power off in order to put the smart meter in. Yeah, I like power independence personally. I've actually got my eye on a solar generator that has enough power that it would actually be able to charge my car. Admittedly, when I say charge my car, I mean if the solar generator was fully charged and left in the sun, I'd probably be able to put about 3 miles into it before it was completely flat. So, you know, it's not going to recharge the whole thing, but it does mean that, you know, if me, my car and my solar generator got magically transported to a desert island by aliens, I would be able to recharge the car and use it as a means of
aliens out.
Well,
no,
hence why I need to get this solar generator.
Do you?
Yeah, no, I really do. And also it means if we get a power cut, more seriously, I can still run the fridge or the freezer or the TV or the internet and, you know, all sorts of things like that. And, you know, I like having that independence because, you know, power cuts do happen. Especially with, you know, I mean, this winter, who knows? There might be a lot of power cuts. Hopefully we won't have like a rolling brownout, you know, blackout type situation. Well, I think they call it brownout when they just lower the voltage. And then the next step in seriousness is to just sort of have different patches of the country have like 3-hour power cuts, basically. Doesn't sound very pleasant to me. I'm hoping it's not going to happen. We'll see. Yeah, it's amazing how far EVs have come, honestly, and how far public's acceptance of EVs has come. That's actually one of the really big things that's changed over, you know, the time that I've had my Tesla. Is, you know, everyone knows about EVs now, and you don't get so many silly questions. Although, I mean, okay, so I did get a slightly silly one. Somebody was, you know, sort of asking, I think it was in a petrol station actually, and they said, you know, you having fuel? And I said, no, I'm driving an electric vehicle. And they went, oh, right, cool. How is it on long journeys? It's fine on long journeys. Admittedly, I am slightly biased though, because it's a Tesla, which means I've got the superchargers, and they are much better for long journeys. Like, actually, good point in case, when I went to pick Jasper up a few days ago, we stopped at South Mims, as I often do. Not because we needed to charge, we would have got home with 44% anyway, but I was we needed to get some lunch because it was that time and there was no food in the car. And what I noticed was that the superchargers, there was like 5 or 6 cars charging, and there was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 bays empty and available. So we popped in one of those for a few minutes whilst we charged the car. The other non-Tesla chargers, I think there was only 2 of them, 2 or 3, and they were fully booked. It does speak to that dividing line between the people that can, you know, use the Tesla superchargers and the people that can't. I mean, I think it's good that Tesla are going to let non-Teslas use their superchargers at least a bit, but I don't know, hopefully it won't impact the supercharger sites too much. I mean, generally speaking, superchargers have always been done correctly. I mean, there are now a few sites around the UK where you've got sort of proper dedicated electric forecourts. I'm thinking places like GridServe. One more thing I've just thought of, if you do like rush out to go get an electric vehicle because it's going to save you loads of money on fuel right now, which it will, in order to access those savings, you're probably going to need to put in a proper EV charge point, which will cost sort of 600 or 700 quid, so, or at least, I don't know, 500 or so. It's not free is the point. So talking about chargers, something else has actually recently changed. On the 30th of June, the government have mandated that all new car chargers that are installed in people's homes have to be smart chargers. And they have to have a persistent internet connection of their own, which means that basically the idea is they can then use these smart chargers to load balance and to encourage people not to charge their cars as soon as they get back from work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which is when everyone gets back and everyone's putting the kettle on and, you know, doing the washing and all the rest of it, and the power usage goes through the roof, and it's that peak load means that they have to, you know, build all sorts of new power stations just to handle those few hours. So rather than do that, they would rather you had this smart charger, which meant that the car didn't charge when you first plugged it in, it charged in the middle of the night. Now it will be user overrideable, which is good, because quite often I find myself needing to put in, like the other day I did, I don't know, 20 odd miles I think it was, and then we got home and I needed to put another 20 miles in, about an hour's worth of charging before we then left again. So obviously having it not charged when I plugged it in then would be a problem. But there is an override. It's just a case of the government trying to use the increasing number of electric vehicles that are charging on the grid as a way to try and balance the demand and generation that that hopefully will make electricity cheaper and more efficient for everyone. So yeah, that's a new rule that's come into play. I actually don't have that sort of charger at home at all. I just have a UMC plugged into a commando socket. So it's like the most non-smart charger that you could have. I could manually set the time of charging, but unless I'm going to get a proper incentive out of the power company, which at the moment we don't, I don't see why I should really. You know, if it's cheaper power at night, then I will. And when we probably move to a new house some point next year, and at that point I will try and set up like an overnight thing and, you know, try and sanitize the power situation for my home. And also then I will have a new smart charger by all, you know, accounts, and I will do a review and let you know if it's any good. I have no experience with smart chargers, never really used anything even vaguely like that. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Right, I've waffled on long enough. I think the guy's almost finished. Then we're gonna go get some lunch and yeah. I'm going to finish up today's video, I think, and then I can get on with editing it and try and turn it into the small, succinct video that I'd like it to be, despite the fact that I know I've actually waffled on an awful lot, as I'm doing right now, and therefore it will be very difficult to edit. But I'm going to do it anyway, because, you know, this is that learning experience. You see, tomorrow I'll make sure that I don't waffle into the camera so much, which will make the editing much better. Right, so anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, remember to leave a like and share it and subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you like. The links are in the description. I want to say a big thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome and very patient. And I will see you all in the next episode of my vlog. Bye. Ooh, my daily vlog. Ah, can say that again.